Yo, what up everyone? This is LeetCode 844 Backspace string compare. So we're given two strings S and T, and we have to return true if they're equal when both are typed into empty text editors. Um, the pound sign, I'm just going to call it the hashtag symbol, means a backspace character. Note that after backspacing an empty text, the text will continue to be empty. Okay, so imagine typing A into an empty text editor, then we type B. Now, this hashtag we are not actually typing. It's meant to signify we're hitting backspace, right? So when we type AB and we encounter hashtag, that means we're hitting backspace after we hit the hashtag, which means our string is actually AB, right? Like we're typing A, we're typing B, and then the hashtag we're not actually typing. It just means we're hitting backspace. So when we have AB and we encounter hashtag, we hit backspace and we have A. Okay, that's simple. Then we add C, right? And that's our final string. Well, that's what our final string looks like for string S, AC. Likewise, for string T, we have A, we have D, then we hit backspace, so we have A, then we add C, and we have AC. Now, you see how these two strings are equal? They're both AC, so we return true. Okay? This problem is pretty straightforward. The only thing that might be tricky is, like, you know, a really, like, straightforward approach that you could probably think of right away is to use a stack, but it's not the worst solution. But you can actually solve it in all of one space, right? And the way we do that is by iterating backwards, right? So we're going to start at the end of this a particular string and we're going to go back, okay? And we're actually going to iterate over both of them at the same time. So over both strings backwards at the same time. So we're going to go, okay, let's start at the end of string S. That first character is C. Okay, the end of string T, first character is C. Okay, then we move one to the left. Okay, we encounter a hashtag. So when we encounter a hashtag, we just skip onto the next character, which is B, but we're going to keep track of how many hashtags we've seen so far. So given that our hashtag counter is greater than 0, we're going to skip B, right? The hashtag counter is actually 1, right? So when we're at B, we're going to skip this character and subtract the hashtag counter by 1. Now hashtag counter is 0, right? And the next character that we're going to get is A. We're not going to skip A because our hashtag counter is 0, okay? Likewise here, we're going to hit this hashtag, then we're going to go to D. Our hashtag counter is not 0, it's actually 1, so we're going to skip this D, go to this A. We're going to skip this D and decrease the hashtag counter, and we're going to go to this A. Now we're going to compare these two characters. Now, the way this is going to work is for cases where they're not equal, is we're going to hit a point where both of these characters are not equal and we just automatically return false when that's the case, right? For example, in example 3, when we're iterating backwards, we have C and we have B, right? To start off with. Well, they don't match, right? So we know that these two strings can't be equal in this case. So we just automatically return false in cases like that, okay? So that's basically our approach. So because we're starting at the end of the strings, we're going to have to get the index for the end of the string. So we're going to say length of S minus 1. T index equals the length of T minus 1. And these lengths obviously can be different, right? For example, the length is 1 for T here and 3 for S. So yeah, that's why we need two separate index variables to track for the S and T strings, okay? Now we're gonna say S back. That's gonna see and T back. So S back and T back are just the counters of the hashtags. So when we encounter a hashtag, we're gonna add 1 to, in this case it would be string S. So S back would be 1. We're gonna add 1 to it. Now when we hit B, is S back equal to 0? No, it's not. It's equal to 1. So we're actually gonna skip this B and decrement the S back counter. Okay, we're gonna hit this A. Is S back equal to 0? Yes. So we can actually, basically, this variable is just for handling when we've seen hashtags, so that when we move on to the next character, we know if we should skip it or not, right? Because again, a hashtag in this specific problem means that you're essentially just hitting backspace, as you're typing into an empty text editor. Okay. So we're gonna say while S of index is greater than or equal to 0, or t of index is greater than or equal to 0, right? So initially our characters are just going to be none, okay? Right? Now when we compare them, they can't be none. We're going to handle that case. So we're going to say while at, well, let's handle string s first, okay? So while s of index is none, right? Because if it's or not s of index, I'm sorry, char s. While char s is none, we have to keep doing something in this loop to get an actual character, or to assign an actual character to char s, okay? And the s of index is greater than or equal to 0, okay? Because we need to actually be within bounds of the actual string, right, to actually assign a character given an index, okay? So we're gonna say if s of index, right, is equal to hashtag, okay, we're gonna increment s back, okay? Now, else if s back, meaning we've seen a hashtag already, and so the hashtag counter is greater than 1 currently. If that's the case, or greater than 0, sorry, currently, if that's the case, we're just gonna skip it, right? Because let's say we're going to see, okay, we hit the hashtag, we do s back plus 1. Okay, now when we hit this b, we're not even gonna care about b, right? So we're just gonna decrement this counter because we're essentially just skipping the character. Okay, else char of s is equal to s of s index, and we're gonna outside of all this loop, we're gonna do s index minus equal 1, right? I know I'm tedious going through these examples, but I'm just trying to be super clear in case anyone doesn't really understand what we're doing. So we're gonna go to C, right? We're going backwards, remember that. So that's why we set the index to length of s minus 1. So okay, initially char s is none. Okay, so we're gonna go to the C. Is this equal to a hashtag? No. Is the hashtag counter greater than 0? No. Okay, so we're gonna set the char equal to this s. Okay, so char s currently is C. Okay, and now that we did that, we're gonna handle the case for t. We're basically gonna do the exact same thing, to find the actual character for t. So we're gonna say while char t is none, and the t index is greater than or equal to 0, we're going to do if t index is equal to a hashtag, okay, then we're going to do t back plus equal 1, else if t back is greater than 0, we're going to do t back minus equal 1, else we're going to do char t is equal to t index, okay? Outside of this, we're going to decrement the actual index by 1, right? Okay. Now we have both characters, okay? So we're getting C and we're getting C. They're equal, okay? That's great, which means okay, we proceed. We actually don't care when they're equal technically, right? We care when they're not equal because that's what's going to break our entire loop and basically just return false. So we're going to say if char s is not equal to char t, then we're just going to return false. Otherwise, outside of this while loop, if we exit this while loop without returning false, it means everything worked fine, right? We didn't run into a case where char s and char t are not equal. So we can just return true because they'd be the same in that case. Okay. Try when you look at this code, try not to like take this in all at once. Just think about what we're doing piece by piece, right? We're handling char s here, we're handling char t here, and then we're checking are these characters equal? And if they're not equal, sorry. And if they're not equal, we're just returning false. Okay? So now we're getting these characters, right? C and C. Right? Now we're gonna go in the while loop again, right? Because this didn't execute. So we're going to this while loop here. Okay, they get set to none. And remember, we're decrementing the indexes. So we're actually not at C anymore, we're at this hashtag. Okay, we hit this hashtag. So we would enter this if statement, right? and s back would be equal to 1 because we're adding 1. Okay. Then we decrement the counter, right? So we go to B. Char s is still none, right? So we're still in this while loop, and we're still the index is still greater than 0. Okay, now we're at B. Is this B equal to a hashtag? No. Well, is the s back greater than 0? Yes, it is, right? Because we just encountered a hashtag and we incremented the s back variable here. So s back is greater than 0, so we decrease s back, so it's equal to 0 now. Okay, so we exit this and we subtract the index, so we move from B to A. Okay, this is our char now. Char s is equal to A. Likewise here for t, right? We hit a hashtag, we increment t back, okay, decrement the index, so we're at D, the character D now. Okay, is t back greater than 0? Yes, it is, so we decrement the counter. So t back is now equal to 0. We decrement the index, so then we hit this A. Okay, we don't enter this if loop. We don't enter this else if loop or statement. Sorry. So we enter the else statement. So char t is equal to t at t index. Okay, so we would get an A. Char t and char s are both A, so we would never enter this. Okay, so we exit. But at this point, the index is no longer greater than 0 or greater than equal to 0. So we would actually exit this while loop and return true, which is what we would expect, okay? I hope that makes sense to you. I'm going to go over a case where it's false. And again, I always just do my videos like this. I always go through the example, go through the code, and then go back through how the code works for the examples so it's clear what we're doing. Okay, so we set this equal to C, right? Because we do, okay, char is none. At this last index here, it's not equal to a hashtag. Our s back is currently 0, so we set char s equal to C. Okay, now we go to B. Well, our last index is this one, so not a hashtag. T back is 0 right now. Char t is B. Okay, so is C equal to B? No, they're not. It's false. Okay, and so we were, or yeah, C and B are not equal. So we enter this if statement and we return false. And that's how we handle cases where this isn't true. Now, let me think of a case. I mean, if we had something like this, for example, right? These might be equal. Okay, so we move back. This is a hashtag, so we skip this B and we go to this A, and we set this to the current character. We skip this hashtag, or we hit this hashtag, we skip this character D, we go to this character B. Now, A and B are not equal, so we would return false in this case too, okay? Actually, I changed the example, right? Just so you're clear. Yeah, we return false, right? Now, what is the example they actually gave us? It should be A. Okay, let's put this back to this example here, the test cases. So this should return true instead of false now that I changed it back to the original example, okay? Yeah. So really, this code might seem complicated at first, but like think about it piece by piece. We're handling character S, we're handling character T, and we're setting them. Is character S not equal to character T? If that's the case, we return false. Pretty simple, right? So even though we're setting char S and char T to none here, we're never actually going to compare cases where there are none unless we have a case where the index is currently less than 0 for one of these. Which could happen, right? We could compare, like, I don't know. Let me actually do a test case for that. We could have something like C, right? These would be true, but then when we were comparing character A, what are we going to compare character A to, right? Nothing, right? Because what are the characters left to pick for character T? So it's going to be, is A not equal to none? Well, yes, so we'd return false. So we'd enter this and return false, okay? So generally speaking, we're not comparing anything to none most of the time, but it is possible that we have some cases we are comparing something to none, right? because these strings are not always the same length. So, yeah, this case handles setting these characters to none handles cases where we're never going to enter these while loops. So yeah, we do need this up here, okay? I hope that makes sense. I tried to explain this problem as best I could, going through examples and stuff. I feel like there's really a lot of videos that don't explain this problem particularly well. So I hope this one was helpful to you. So yeah, best advice really, just think about this problem piece by piece, what we're doing, right? We're handling character S here, we're handling character T here, and then we're comparing if they're not equal, okay? Pretty simple. And we're iterating backwards when doing this, okay? So it's pretty simple, yeah. Anyways, I hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next one.